One thing queer, one thing queer, one thing queer. Let's get one thing queer. Let's get one thing queer.
Hello and welcome to One Thing Queer. My name is Kelsey. My pronouns is she, her.
And my name is Jenny, and my pronouns are she, they.
Wow, switch up.
Switch up today.
That was terrifying.
But y'all weren't expecting that.
Yeah.
We're like, let's get things spicy and switch it up for us, for y'all. So
Now I'm traumatized.
I knew it'd make you uncomfortable.
I'm so uncomfortable right now. I'm like, you suggested. I'm like, really? Okay.
Well, tell us your feedback. But yeah, so how are you?
Good. Been a good week, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We're midway through the week.
Yeah, we're shooting the shit.
We're shooting the shit today. You want to get started?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm already jumping in. I'm way ahead. I'm ahead of the shit. I guess.
You stepped over the shit.
I did step over there. Yeah, because I was like, let me ask how you are. And then like, oh, well.
We're switching.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very weirded out. I'm very confused on what's happening.
Welcome to season 2. No, just kidding.
Yeah, same season. No, it was a good week. We recorded with Val.
Yeah, we recorded with Bay.
And then we got to do Thai food and chill.
It was so much fun.
It really was.
We got some bonding time.
Yeah, it was fun. It was cool. We were supposed to watch a movie, but that didn't happen.
No.
Yeah.
The conversation was too wild.
Yeah, it was really fun.
It was
Yeah.
so much fun. Thank you for your popcorn. Your popcorn was superb.
Well, thanks, but it wasn't as good as I thought it should be.
It was so good to me that it like made my heart sing like this when I had it. It was so good.
I'm dead.
We're switching things up today.
I love it. We also have to learn to not laugh at everything. That would be a switch up.
I don't know. When I listen to podcasts, I love when people are laughing because I feel like I'm laughing with them.
Yeah.
I've been super obsessed with a podcast called Spiritual Shit. If you are interested in spirituality, listen to that podcast because holy shit.
I'll have to check it out.
It's so good.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know. Yeah, so we got to do that. And then Sunday was my partner's birthday, so we got to do that.
Yeah.
It was nice. Had a good time. And then I just worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
I don't know. How was your week?
My week's been good. Just busy with work. Yesterday, I was being tested by my angels yesterday. I made an order for Wingstop. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna treat my partner to some Wingstop because they love Wingstop. So I was like, okay. And I like message her and I'm like, hey, do you want Wingstop? And they're like, of course. So I made the order and we're literally like down the street.
2 seconds.
2 seconds from a Wingstop. And I don't know how. I made sure that it was that Wingstop, but I don't know how. But I ended up like 20 minutes away. And I went to the Wingstop down the street from our house and there was an order for Jennifer. And
No, that's not me.
It wasn't for me. And so I was like waiting. I'm like, why is it taking so long? And so yeah, I was like being tested. I was like trying to ground myself. I was like, and I was like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm just trying to ground myself because I'm very mad at myself right now. So I was like, this is a test. I know y'all are testing me. But yeah, we got home and we started watching Broad City. And and my partner loves to watch the TV at a very low volume. And I'm a musician, so I like things loud. But I love them so much and I want to compromise. So I'm like, okay, like I know it like triggers them. So I was like, okay, I try not to like say anything. But we were watching it, and I legit could not hear a thing. I couldn't hear a thing. It, like, the volume's at, like, level 9. And I'm like, I just hear... And We have subtitles, but I don't read that fast. And in Broad City, like, Alana speaks very fast. So it's like subtitles, blah, blah, blah,
It's very
blah.
quippy.
And so, like, she's just cracking up. And I'm just like watching a silent film, basically. So
I'm dead.
So I was like, I'm like, I can't hear anything. And then she raises the volume. But yeah, I don't know. That stood out to me this week. That is love. We're compromising for each other.
We were talking about that a little bit because like Val's sultry voice was a topic of conversation with people who listened to the episode. Like, it's great. Her voice is great. But I was like, I need you to speak up a little.
Yeah, I'm a musician. I've been to so many shows.
Same. Deaf. You don't know how loud the headphones are right now, everybody. We're both deaf.
Yeah, we like it loud. Yeah. But I
was gonna say, my partner and I have subtitles on and the volume is loud.
Up, just be safe.
For whatever reason, I don't know why. If the subtitles aren't on, even though it's loud, I feel like I still can't hear it. I don't know. So like going to the movie theater is hard because they don't put subtitles on. So I'm like, I know it's loud as hell in here. Yeah. I still can't hear it.
Yeah.
I can't comprehend what they're saying without reading it also.
Yeah, because you have your eyes and your ears kind of trained.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm deaf. I'm always like, we sound like an old couple. Like, I'll be like, what? And then she'll, and I'll be like, what?
That kind of happens a little bit with us. Like, we do grocery shopping like every 2 weeks. Like, that's like our fun time out.
Yeah.
And I get shy because I don't want like, you want noodles? Like, I don't want to yell in the grocery store. You don't want
to be like, I'm here.
Yeah. So I'm like super quiet, and he's very tall. So he's like what? And I'm very short. So like he can't. I'm like, I'm talking normal, but kind of quiet because I'm like I don't know, nervous, anxious, whatever. And I'm like, I don't want people to hear my stuff, so I have to like yell. So it's not like the whole like what,
yeah.
And it's like. Never mind.
That's literally our dynamic. Val is usually like, never mind.
Yeah. I can see the face you did this year. That's the face Val makes.
Yeah. Like,
she's over it.
Never mind. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, it is what it is. You know, yeah. I love her so much. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cute.
But that was my week.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So, what are we talking about today?
I think we're gonna go through. Val had a great idea. Val was giving out fire ideas in that live. I don't know. Let's talk about our school. I don't know how we got into what we do, kind of thing. Because I've never heard your story, and
I heard your story vaguely, but not in depth. Cool. So yeah, I think that'd be really fun, and I think it'd be a good way for y'all to get to know us a little bit more.
Yeah, see where the conversation takes us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. You want to go first? Or
sure.
Me? Okay, cool.
So I'll start. So I'm a freelance makeup artist. I got certified in 2011. I went to Lebec Makeup Atelier in Ontario in the Arts District. The person that certified me /teacher/trainer. She did it all. Is Lebec Douizy. She's amazing. And her daughter is also amazing. And I went there. I got started because I was in college and my dad really wanted me to go to college. I'm his oldest, so, you know, immigrant family. So I was in college and I was like, well, what's like the thing that most appeals to me? It's like, I really like to teach. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll be like a teacher, or maybe I'll be a social worker, because I've also always loved to help people, and like someone with empathetic tendencies, like you just kind of want to like resolve everybody's problems.
I had social worker in my future also at some point.
Yeah. So I was in college and it was just not fulfilling me, and I changed my major. My first major was sociology, and then I changed it to art without anybody knowing, just because I was like, I've always created things with my hands and I've always been super creative, so I was like, just art, I guess. And I think it was my third year of college. I was like, okay, I kind of want to like start wearing makeup. No, it was my second year because I was 20. And I was like, I don't know how to wear it because my mom didn't teach me how to put makeup on either. And so I found YouTube videos. And during that time, YouTube wasn't huge. Like, there wasn't like this big influencer, like big platform of what it is today. And I came across Candy Johnson, and Candy Johnson is a professional makeup artist, or was. I'm not sure if she's still doing it, but I found a video of hers, and it was basically how to become a makeup artist. And I was like, wow. Like, I don't know. I just like clicked on it. And I was so broke. I was like a broke college student. So I literally had like 1 or 2 eyeshadows and like a foundation, I think, or a concealer. Like, I had like not even the bare minimum.
So there's construction across the street. Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, sorry guys. But and I had like 3 brushes. But I would be like, you know what? I'm like, this is fun. I'm like, and I always had like lower self-esteem growing up, just because I was pretty much a loner growing up, and I got teased a lot growing up. I moved a lot, so it was really hard for me to make friends, and I was always very socially awkward too. So when I just came across this video, I was like, oh, that sounds fun. And then I just got addicted to watching makeup tutorials, and I was like, wow. So literally one day I just like woke up and I'm like, I'm gonna be a makeup artist. And I didn't know much about it, but I was just like, I'm like, I love this. And so I looked up makeup schools, and Lebec's atelier was the closest thing to me, and it was affordable compared to like a lot of the mainstream makeup schools like in LA.
Yeah.
It was significant difference. And I really I learned better in a 1-to-1 system rather than like a school structure of like a bunch of people. I love having that one-on-one experience when it comes to education. So
do you learn better by being shown or told? Like shown, yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, same.
And we still went through like theory during makeup school. Like, I didn't get my hands on a face until maybe like a couple months. I want to say a month or 2 after we went through the theory of like skin and like skin textures and all the science behind it. So I got certified, I want to say like 4 or 5 months after I started, and a year later I started working at MAC. And by that point I had already dropped out of school because I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so MAC, well, before I got hired at MAC, I was working at Sephora, but as like a cash wrap person. So I would only ring up people, and I just remember like I wasn't allowed to like, you know, put makeup on people or color match anyone. And I was like, oh my gosh. But then one day, I think it was a point where I wasn't working for a few months, and my mom was like, I've helped you for 2 months already. You need to get a job. So it was like a morning. It was like 8 a.m. that morning. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, I want a job in makeup. So I Googled makeup artist LA jobs because I wanted to work in LA. Because I didn't feel like I could really grow like where we live. And we're like an hour away from LA. So I was like, I can like commute. That's fine. And I knew that the pay was higher too. So I just like Craigslisted makeup jobs in LA. And there was a job fair for MAC in Pasadena that morning. Wow. And so I literally like got ready that morning, went, did my instant interview. I got passed over to the next interview phase, and then the next interview phase, and I got hired. And yeah, it was just like, I worked there from like 2013 to 2016. So about 3 years, and then I moved to San Francisco, and I was an on-call artist, so I didn't really have like a set schedule with MAC. Pretty much they would book me every month, like certain days every month. But when I moved to San Francisco, I was like, I need something like stable. So then I worked at salons as a receptionist, and then after I decided to be full-time freelance, I quit my salon job as a receptionist, and I went back to MAC, and I worked at the Pro Store in San Francisco. And I was there for maybe about 6 months. And basically I was like on and off with Mac for a span of like not 8 years. I want to say like 6 years. Pretty much when I moved back from San Francisco, I was still kind of working for them, but I was really focusing on trying to get jobs on my own account and like building my clientele. And so I went to do Lyft when I moved back home. And I did Lyft for like a year. And I would just pick up jobs that would come out. I would work pretty much for like free jobs to build my network of photographers and models. And honestly, like working those free jobs kind of led me to being in the place where I am today, where I'm fully self-employed. And all the clients I have now are because of referrals and because I've met people on set and they know someone and I know,
That's awesome.
So that's pretty much like the
the gist
of my career.
I remember when you moved, I mean, like we said, even though we didn't talk at all, we still had like social media and stuff. And I remember when you moved and I was like, oh wow, like she's moving her makeup, like that's really cool. Like I just remember seeing that and like, oh, like look at you go. Like it always, to me, like fascinates me when people take that leap. I'm like, wow, cool.
It's scary as fuck.
I know. So I'm like, we were talking about this earlier today, like the Gemini in my head is like, well, this, well, what if this, what if this? They're back and forth talking. And it a lot of times keeps me from taking the leap. And I need to stop doing that.
It's scary, but it's so worth it. And I'm honestly kind of in a transition phase right now because I made the choice. I've been my dad's caretaker for years now, and I made the choice to let go of that. Like I'm obviously still going to be there for my dad and everything, but I told him that it's been really hard for me to balance like my career, commuting, my podcast, me being able to like really immerse myself in my spirituality. And that is really big for me right now. Like I feel this like need to really get in touch with my spirituality even more. I like yearn for it. And in order for me to do that is I can't keep extending myself to all these different places that need me. And so like I'm basically just taking that responsibility and giving it to somebody else. So
it's a lot.
With that being said, I started my Instagram, my Celestial Light Witch Instagram. I really want to, like I said, immerse myself into spirituality and be able to help people, because I find that a lot of people tend to have questions about a lot of stuff. Like my own brother will like reach out to me and he'll be like, what does this mean? And I'm like, and I really like, I've always wanted to help people, and I feel like the most fulfilling thing for me to do is to be able to help people when they need help in this department, because I love talking about it. I love talking about it. You know how in love I am with that part of myself, and I really just want to share that. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. I really don't have set plans. I just know that I want to eventually offer my light healing to others. So that's the news.
Ooh, I know. You told me earlier. I was like, what is it? I started hyperventilating, breathing, like, what's it going to be? But like, no, that's great. Like, I mean, I know you'll be sad to not be there constantly. I don't want to say constantly, but constantly for him, basically. But like, you also at some point have to put yourself first. And like, and even like my partner and I talk about it, like not talk about it, but like you can tell that like you need more time for you. And like he makes a joke that like, I don't know, it's not a joke, but like you sometimes look like you need to release. And like
I think that's what he's been talking about. Because your partner has definitely like there's something that like he keeps saying that like he just wants me to explode, and it's like I'm full of like, I'm well aware that like other empaths can pick up on like my stress. I try to do my best in like grounding myself and really protecting myself, but it's hard. It's not easy. It's not like being spiritual is a full-time job in itself. And it's really hard because I encounter different people, different energies every single day. but that's why I kind of want to put, you know, that responsibility I have with my dad, like, you know, set that aside and really just be there for myself first, and really be able to help other people just by living my truth and living my life.
Yeah, because it is a lot. I mean, like, we joke how busy you are, but like, you are really incredibly busy.
Yeah.
So it's like, like I think we kind of have, not a joke, I don't know. We said it to you too before that it's like, I think if you had the time, you wouldn't know what to do with the time because you don't ever have time. And it's really nice for you to be able to have that time now.
Yeah. I want to be bored. I miss being bored.
Yeah.
I haven't been bored in a very long time. And it's been, especially this last year.
Yeah.
But I think I'm doing the right thing, and it's also like literally put everything in the hands of the universe, like how I did when I quit my job, my last job. That was like 5 years ago. And that's what I'm doing in this department. It's like I'm doing my part and being there for myself. I know the universe has my back in every other aspect.
You never fail to take that leap. You always take that leap.
I mean, life is just, it's short.
No, it's admirable because I'm like, there's multiple things in my head or in the works on my personal life that I'm like, man, do we take the leap?
Yeah.
I just can't ever. I mean, I took a leap coming out and I took a leap reaching out. So I'm like,
I see a trend there.
So I'm like, okay, even when it's smack dab in my face, proof that it works when I do that, I still can't do it a lot of the times, which is, there's been a lot of, readings that I've been seeing lately, and pretty much a lot of it is just get out of your own way. And I'm like, I know, I hear you. It's just I'm always in my own way, so I just need to get out.
It's easier said than done, for sure.
Definitely. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So
that is mine.
I can't wait for you to text me and be like, I'm so bored. What do I do?
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to be bored.
Yeah.
I can't wait to sleep in.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, sleep.
Or nap.
Yeah.
I don't know what napping
That's why I feel so guilty when I'm like, oh, it's such a long day yesterday. I'm like, if I really think of I'm just a big baby and I couldn't have done it. I know.
Listen to everybody has their own like levels of everything. So
and
don't invalidate yourself.
My threshold of what I'd like to get done in a day is it's much more complicated to do now because we've been in quarantine. So like, I don't know. I was up and around the whole day the other day, a couple weeks ago or something, and I was like, oh my God, I'm tired. Like my back and my feet hurt. Like that's what I get for sitting around this entire quarantine. Like I lost like all my stamina because I was joking about going back to retail, which and like I don't know if I would be able to make it.
Then you don't have to.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, you don't have to.
I can't think of anything worse than to go back to. Not anything worse that's dramatic, but I mean,
I think our podcast is like a perfect like example of being persistent and seeing like growth in something that like we literally just like planted a seed and we've just like been adding and adding and adding and every week. Yeah. And we hit 1,000 listens.
I know. I was like, oh
like it may not seem like a lot for a lot of people, but for us,
that's what I was thinking. It doesn't seem in the grand scheme of podcasts. It doesn't sound like a lot, but like, dude, that means like that's a lot for us. I'm like a little old us. Like that's flipping cool.
It's great.
It's insane. I don't know.
So grateful for that.
Yeah,
by the way.
It's really cool. Like,
thank you all for listening.
Definitely, and for reaching out and commenting and participating in the lives, and
y'all make it fun.
Yeah, that's fun.
Y'all are the reason why we keep doing it. Because I'm like, I wouldn't have any listeners. I'd be like, well, at least I'm having fun.
Yeah, I mean, we could, if anything, we just catch up once a week kind of thing. So, I mean, that's
and it's
fun.
on the record.
Right. For real. I know, it's funny when we like when you come in, we're like trying to talk and then it's like, wait. Shh. Yeah. Like, okay, let's go record.
Let's wait. I mean, that's essentially what we're doing. We're just catching up with each other.
Pretty much.
But with mics and our faces.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
but
yeah. So tell me about your schooling.
Oh, my schooling. Oh boy. Okay. So I don't know. I guess we could start from high school. I guess all through high school, like what?
No, never mind. Okay. Sorry.
What?
No.
Sorry. Yeah.
I was reaching for the sad trombone.
Yeah, from high school, definitely. So I don't know. I was kind of one of those kids who like, I didn't really have to try for grades, but if I would have tried, I would have probably got really good grades. But the crushing disappointment if I tried and failed, I couldn't do. So I didn't try. So I just kind of did the bare minimum and passed and whatever. So, all through high school, I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. Who knows what they want to do? And actually, my partner has a really good talk about this. Like, because when he has employees come to him, like, I'm this age and I don't know what to do with my life, man. He's like, dude, like, we all don't know. Like, and I don't know how they expect, like, teenagers to know what the heck they're supposed to do with the rest of their life.
Exactly.
So him and I both fell into that when we were in high school. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So I don't know. So my parents had the rule of like, you go to college or you pay rent. And I was like, well, I don't want to pay rent. So I go to college. And I paid for it all myself, like credit cards and all kinds of stuff. You know, it was just community college, which I mean, I say just, but I was there for 4 years. I have an associate's and stuff. So I much rather prefer like an apprenticeship or something like that because I don't like book learning. Like, just show me how to do it, and then that's it. That's all I need. So, so I went to JV, which is I don't know, local community college. And when I've always been interested in like, I couldn't ever decide between fashion merchandising and like the design aspect of it. So when I was looking for shops, my mom was like, oh, let's go check out FITM, which is a design school in LA. So I went and did the interview, whatever, and like got in. But when they were telling me about like the tuition and stuff, it was like
ridiculous.
A ridiculous amount of money for 2 years. And they didn't let you take from both curriculums. You couldn't do design and merchandising. You had to pick one. And I was like, well, I don't know what I want to do with either one of those. Like, so I would have to do 4 years and to take all of it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I was like, a lot of the reason I didn't want to go to college, because in America, there's a lot of student debt that goes with that. And I didn't want that. I like student debt for this thing that I don't even know if I want to do or I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I didn't want that. So, so going there, I was kind of like, never mind. So we went to Chafee, the fashion, the director who ran that program, the sewing and design program. She was like, oh, she was like, oh, I steal their curriculum. Don't worry about it. Come here instead. And I was like, oh, okay.
Badass.
She was like, yeah, she's like, I used to teach there. Like, I know exactly, I'm teaching the exact same thing. She said the difference is that they have, basically, you're paying for all the supplies to already be available to you there. And here you have to buy your own supplies, which you like, you're doing the same thing. It's just here you can decide what you actually want to pay for, kind of stuff. So I was like, okay. And she's like, and we let you take from whatever curriculum you want and blah, blah, blah. So
that's good.
Yeah, I did that I did college for 4 years. And the whole time I was working at Vans. So I was working full time and going to school full time for 4 years. It was fun.
That's gnarly.
It was so gnarly. There'd be times where my partner and I would be living at his house, his mom's house, and I would be up at 3 a.m. doing a project, and she's getting ready for work, and I'm like, hi.
Oh my God.
Copying and cutting and pasting these model photos into a book. I'm like, hi, I'm just on your kitchen.
PM.
Whoa. What was that? That was my watch. Sorry, everybody.
Thank you, Siri.
Yeah, thanks, Siri.
I watch Siri.
I have it on silent. Why is it? Okay, anyways, so yeah. I'd be like, oh, I'm just in your kitchen doing a project. Sorry. So I did that, and then I don't know, I was still working at Vans. That's what I'm saying, is I paid for that, but do I really use it? I use it now, kind of, in my job, but I mean, so I worked at Vans, and I worked there for 6 years or something. And while I was going to Vans, actually, I guess this is more of my career history than it is work history. And I mean, school history. So I did that. And then I started training actually with a trainer. And this was my second job. So I started training with a trainer, and she was like, oh, have you ever wanted, she did Muay Thai. And she was like, have you ever wanted to fight? I'm like, yeah. Every day of my life.
Yes.
Dead. Yeah. The answer is yes.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, I think you would be, it's a really good workout, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So I started training with her for a while and like fully planned on fighting and everything.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I don't think I knew this.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like, not many people do, but like I started training with her and, you know, play. But in the course of training for that, she was like, oh, have you ever thought of being like a personal trainer? And I was like, well, no. Like, I don't know. I thought you had to be like, because in my eyes, I was like super thick back then. But now that I look back at photos, I apparently have very bad body dysmorphia. Apparently, I'm laughing because it's funny to me. It's not funny in real life. But so I was like, no, why would I do that? Like, don't you have to be like tiny to do that? I don't know. It was back in the age when like there was no real like body positivity out, nothing like that.
Or representation.
Yeah, so it was very toxic. It was a toxic space. It still is a toxic space, but it was much more toxic back then. So I was like, no. And she was like, oh, here, like you just take a test or whatever you do. Like it's like a couple days of a class. You buy the book and you study it and you know, pass the class or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. That's where I met her, is like 24-hour fitness or something. So I was like, okay. So I started studying for that because I didn't know what I wanted. And I had same thing I had gone through that you did, where like I wanted to help people. I thought about being a social worker, but I couldn't fathom listening to stories and just not crumbling at all.
Your cancer was like, no.
Yeah, because I was like, oh no, I could totally have a guard up and be like this big hard ass. Like, no, it's not gonna get me. But I was like, I really thought about it. I'm like, I don't think I would be able to make it. No. I just don't think I could take on the emotional burden of it. I didn't think I was gonna be able to do it. So helping people, I was like, oh, fitness, cool, could totally do that. Yeah, like, yeah, let's do that. So I did that for a little bit, and actually I got into it, and it was a nightmare.
Oh no.
Yeah, I passed the test, got a job at 24-hour fitness, like did the whole thing.
Yeah.
Went and like, it was just awful. Like,
oh, no.
People suck sometimes. Like, even the people I wanted to help, I'm like, I don't know, I'm not gonna get too much into it, but it just didn't work out, I guess. So I had left Vans to go there. I was there for like a month, and I was
Holy
like,
shit.
I'm out. I quit. And I was like, oh crap. Like, what am I gonna do? God. So PacSun was hiring. So obviously between Vans and PacSun, if you know, you know, like the crossover is real. People go from one to the other, back and forth all the time. So I was like, okay, I heard that they need a manager or whatever. So I went there. It was awful also. The manager was pissed because the DM had what is it called?
District manager.
There you go. I was like, directional. The district manager had hired me out from under her without speaking to her first, and I don't know what kind of hold she had on that store, but it was bad. She didn't like me, so I was like, okay, whatever. And there was also a kid who was trying to mess with me there also, and it was not a good. I don't know.
Toxic vibes.
Yeah, he like accused me of stealing, and like we caught him. It was so. I'm like, I've never stolen it. I'm a Capricorn. I've never stolen anything in my whole flippin' life. Like,
y'all like buying shit.
For real. Like, I was like, I know I would buy a better quality than whatever that is. So like, yeah, like accused me of stealing. He got caught because he's the one who actually stole it.
Wow. He was trying to frame you.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. So I was like, okay, I'm out of here. Like, I hated it. So I quit again. And we had a roommate at that time. So this is a weird story, but we had a roommate at that time. And I had such anxiety going in there that like, I was in like a full panic mode every time I had to go to work. And one day I was like, I can't, this is so stupid. I'm just going to work. Why am I feeling like this? So
yeah.
I had my roommate call and pretend to be my partner and be like, oh, she's really sick. She can't come in. And I just ghosted him. That's awful. And that's terrible work history. But I was like, dude, this is so toxic that I'm like being accused of stealing. Like nothing I do is right. Like, which for a Capricorn is not easy to hear, but like nothing I do is right. But there was also no training. So because there's so much crossover, they don't train you in their ways because they assume you know from Vans, even though the way they do stuff is vastly different than the way Vans does stuff. So they're like, oh, you got it. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, well, I don't. And they're like, oh, did you do this today? I'm like, no one's even told me that's a thing. What are you talking about? Like, it was a very hard transition. So I quit. So luckily, my mom has worked with a designer since my mom is a seamstress. She has her own business. And she's worked with a designer since I was like 10.
That's
so
crazy.
10 or 13, something like that. So I've known her forever. I've seen her in that. My mom's shop was in our house. So I'd seen her forever and whatever. So, she was looking for somebody. Her production manager was leaving, and she was looking for somebody. And my mom was like, well, Kelsey went to school for that. Like, you know, and I actually in school, I was supposed to internship for her, and I did, and she was supposed to give me tasks to do, but like, I never did anything for her really. So like, I don't know, like nothing really happened from that, but like I was supposed to internship for her. Cause at that time you had an internship in college or whatever for that. So she was like, oh, Kelsey's looking for something. She just quit her job and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, cool, come in for an interview. And like, I'll be honest, if you're listening out there, Kelly, I fudged that interview so hard because I was like, I don't really know this stuff, but like, I got it. Like, I'm a hands-on person. Just show me once and I got it. Like, I don't need a book for this. I got this. So that turned into like production managing for them. And I worked alongside the person who was leaving for a while. And then they eventually left, and then I kind of just became my own thing. And from there, I kind of became like a catch-all person. So I did shipping, I did the production, I do the websites, I do the customer service. Like I did all of that, and that's kind of still what I do now for her. Yeah. So that's what I do, everyone.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and like I'm like her Shopify guru. Like, so if you need help with Shopify, hit me up.
Do it all.
Yeah, I do it. I do the websites, I do the ordering, I do the shipping, I make stuff for the shop also. Like, I do it all.
That's crazy.
But I love that. It's enough of a structure for me, but it's also not like boxing me into like one thing that I have to do constantly.
Yeah, because that could probably drive you crazy.
Oh yeah.
Like repeating the same thing every day. And it's cool that you get to put a lot of hats on.
Yeah, and it's I really I like that. I like being, because I sometimes get really stressed out, obviously, but I like the being the person who saves the day.
So, very cappy.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, like she'll be like, you already did that? I'm like, I sure did. Like, yeah, like we have this joke. Have you ever seen that movie? Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
You've talked about it before, but I haven't seen it yet.
That's my like top 5 desert island movies. Like, that movie's coming with me. I love that movie so much.
Is that the Applegate? Yeah. What's her name?
Christina Applegate.
Yes.
And she's like super goth in 90s. She's amazing in that movie. I love that movie.
Dope.
Yeah, dope. Anyways, so rude. My partner said he knows this is when you say that. He just chuckles. Anyways. No, but like in that movie, she says like, oh, she's getting a new job, and her boss is like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, anytime I ask you a question and people are in the room, it doesn't matter what I ask you. You always say, I'm right on top of that, Rose. So like, that's a joke with like, my boss will tell me to do something, and I've already done it. And I'm like, I'm right on top of that, Rose. Like, I'm already done it. You're like 5 minutes behind me. Yeah.
So, you're always ahead of me on everything.
I'm such a like a forward planner. Like my brain thinks so far ahead that like I forget what's happening now sometimes.
No, but I appreciate that, especially like running a podcast with you. Like yesterday, you hit me up and you were like, what are we talking about tomorrow? I'm like, I didn't even cross my mind. I have no idea.
I think it's because I have the time to. You don't have time to. I'm like, yeah. You don't have time to sit there and. Yeah. I was working, but in between, I had to drive a lot yesterday, going to different shipping places, because that's one of my jobs, is I ship stuff.
Yeah.
So I was driving a lot, and I was like, oh, I guess I can. Oh, I need to know this. Huh. Okay. Yeah. It's like, we haven't talked about this yet.
Yeah.
Figure this out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was listening to a new podcast too. It's 2 new ones. One your brother recommended on the live, that Dead Meat, I think it's called. It's like a horror podcast.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. And then I listened to another one called Horror Queers.
I love.
It was so cute. Like it's like 2 gay guys, and they talk about horror movies.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was really cool. And they talk about, actually, the one I listened to, this is left field. This is off topic.
That's our podcast.
I know, right? They talked about that movie Creep.
Oh, yeah.
There's like supposedly like I guess like gay undertones in it too, because like supposedly it's supposed I've never seen it, so I'm not quite sure how accurate it is. Sometimes I listen to episodes before I watch the movie because I'm afraid to watch the movie. I need to take away the mystery of what's gonna happen. Yeah. So they were saying that it's kind of like the way he reacts is like gay panic, because like this guy talks to him, and like it's seemingly like a gay guy, and he's supposed to be straight supposedly, and he's like telling him how like nice he looks and stuff like that, so that guy panics.
Oh, I see.
And it's like, okay. I don't know, they put a different spin on it. I've never heard that before. I listen to a lot of like horror podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah. Belle's listening to, I think she mentioned it on the episode. She's listening to My Favorite Murder from the beginning.
I can't. That's wow,
wild.
I used to listen that. It really trips me out because like they first started when I because I used to listen to Kevin and Bean a lot, and it's like a local radio station for if you're not in California. Yeah, if you're not in California. And then they went off the air, and I was like, I like cried. It was they were like my best friends. And a year before that, they got rid of their guy named Ralph.
It sucks.
I loved him so much, and they got rid of their other girl, Lisa May, and I loved her so much. So, and then the next year, before, like right when quarantine hit, they let everybody go.
That's so sad.
Yeah, it was nuts. And I don't know, I like cried because I was like, I'm not gonna be able to hear them anyways.
I know.
So I had to get podcasts, and that's when, like, I was like, oh, okay, let me get all these. I was listening to them before, but like,
yeah.
I had to get more, and I don't know. I can't imagine listening to My Favorite Murder all over again.
All over again. I don't know. Like I mentioned earlier in this episode, spiritual shit is so good. If you are into all the spiritual stuff, they have episodes on like everything. Right now I was listening to one with someone that like specializes in star seeds and all that jazz. And it's very interesting. So if you're into that stuff, go check it out. She has like 115 episodes. Wow. But I'm starting from the beginning, and each one I'm just like, whoa. Yeah. Knowledge
I'm laughing.
in my brain.
I'm laughing because we planned out something to talk about, but because we wanted to talk about the other thing with the podcast, it steered right back into that.
It did.
We should stop planning. This is what I get for planning.
It's part of our podcast dynamic.
Definitely.
I'm not sad about it.
Not mad at it.
No.
Definitely.
No. I was actually
We are gonna have seamless sound effects someday. I promise.
I need to master it. So I wanted to use.
Yeah. That shit is just that the new shoot the shit sound.
Oh yes, shoot the shit. Okay, that's the shoot the shit sound.
There you go. Planned. Put it in the books.
On record. Or should it be the scratch?
No. Hard no.
Or the funky.
Wow.
Shoot the shit. Shoot the shit.
I'm dead. It's a left turn. This is what happens, everybody. I think we're like loopy too, and like tired.
It's hump day as we record. So
yeah, I know. So since we had Val on last week,
yes.
Do you guys know who's gonna be the next guest?
I wonder
who it could be.
I wonder who it could be.
I know. If you've been following along.
Yes.
Yeah. So
we have some exciting stuff coming.
Well, yeah, definitely. I don't know why I made that noise because I was stretching. I don't know what else. Do you have anything else?
No, I think that's all I really have to say.
Yeah, same. Oh my god.
I'm like, we had a longer episode last week, so we'll keep this one short.
For sure.
But I'm sure we're gonna have a long episode soon.
I mean, yeah.
So,
all three of the people like to talk a lot.
Yeah, it's gonna be nonstop. We're gonna be like,
I'm not sure if that's gonna be the next one or the one after that.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
So stay tuned.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll do the socials.
End scene.
So if you want to reach out to us and let me turn that off. If you want to reach out to us and tell us a little bit about your coming out story or have questions you'd like us to answer and give you some advice on, feel free to email us at onethinkqueer@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. Or you can follow or message us on Instagram at onethinkqueer. And my personal Instagram is SpexRayX.
And my personal Instagram is Jenny Lynn Bouton. And for all my witchy listeners, I have a witchy page where I do card readings. Right now I'm doing collective readings with oracle decks and with tarot decks. But I will be opening my books for personal readings next year. Anyways, the
shameless plug.
Shameless plug. It's at Celestial Light Witch.
Yeah.
And also follow us on
TikTok. We're
We're going to record some for y'all, so
Yeah.
go follow us
That'll be
on
fun.
there.
I think they're funny.
Yeah.
I laugh every time I watch.
Yeah, me too. Leah, actually, I worked with her today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Oh.
and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you guys come up on my For You page all the time." I'm
I love
like,
that.
"That's exciting."
Really
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Leah.
Shout out to Leah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think that's it.
that's
I was
it.
going to bring up another story, but I'll save it. No, it's fine. No, don't worry, because I don't want to. It's the blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Jenny
Are you
got
sure?
this. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So I guess that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of One Thing Queer.
Yeah.
Make sure you are subscribed or follow our podcast on Spotify. And if you have time, feel free to leave a review on our Apple Podcast app
Yeah, or a rating.
and rating. That would mean the world. But
Yeah, cool. We'll
All
see you
right.
next week.
we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Graphics by BexUniverse.co. Music by Jacody.